Welcome to our channel. We are so glad you found your way here. Let us help you fall asleep. Let's begin with the last Vestal, the gentle fade of an ancient Roman institution. Take a slow, deep breath in and release it. Let the noise of today fall away as we step back, not just hours or years, but centuries, into the vast theater of crime and punishment in ancient Rome. If you genuinely like our videos, please hit like and subscribe. Very Utmol, the Vestal Virgins, a revered institution in ancient Rome, held a unique position within the societal framework. Their primary duty involved maintaining the sacred fire of Vesta, the goddess of the hearth, symbolizing the continuity and stability of both the household and the city itself. This role was not merely ceremonial. It was fundamental to Roman identity and state religion, representing a sacred bond between the divine and the populace. Chosen from noble families at an early age, these women committed to a life of chastity for 30 years, divided into 3 decades of service, learning, and teaching. The first decade focused on education, the second on the performance of rituals, and the final decade allowed for mentorship of new initiates. Their lives were marked by privilege, including a unique independence not often afforded to women in that era, as they wielded significant influence and power. In this region, they resided in a dedicated temple, surrounded by elaborate rituals that emphasized their sacred status. The sacred fire within was never allowed to extinguish, symbolizing the prosperity of Rome. As time progressed, the waning influence of traditional beliefs and changing societal structures began to erode the importance of this institution, leading to the gradual decline of their revered status and the eventual extinguishment of their fire. The foundation of the Vestal cult can be traced back to the early days of Roman religion, deeply intertwined with the fabric of the city's spiritual life. Rooted in ancient rituals, the Vestals were entrusted with the sacred duty of maintaining the eternal flame of Vesta, the goddess of the hearth. This responsibility symbolized not only the physical warmth of the home, but also the spiritual well-being of Rome itself. These priestesses, selected as children, entered a strict vow of chastity for 30 years. Their commitment ensured purity and stability for the state, which believed that the favor of Vesta was essential for prosperity. The presence of the Vestals in the forum, where they performed various rituals, underscored their crucial role in Roman society. Their actions were perceived as pivotal to the city's fortune, a belief that solidified their esteemed position within the religious hierarchy. Throughout centuries, the Vestal Virgins enjoyed privileges uncommon for women in ancient Rome. They wielded significant influence, often acting as intermediaries between the people and the divine. The protection of their sanctity became a matter of state importance, and violations were met with severe consequences. This reverence for the Vestals and their sacred duties established a foundation that would endure through various societal transformations, reinforcing the intersection of religion and governance in ancient Rome. The goddess Vesta, revered as the guardian of the hearth and home, occupied a central role within Roman religious life. She symbolized not only domestic tranquility, but also the stability of the state itself. Her presence was felt in every household, where her sacred flame represented the warmth and unity of family. This divine flame was meticulously tended by the Vestals, a group of priestesses whose primary responsibility was to maintain it. Ensuring its eternal burn signified the perpetual well-being of Rome. In this context, Vesta's influence extended beyond domestic spheres, intertwining with the civic identity of the populace. The flame was housed within a round temple in the Forum, a space that resonated with political significance. The community gathered here for solemn rituals, reinforcing their connection to the divine and their collective identity. These ceremonies were not merely acts of worship. They served as reminders of the interdependence between the state and its deities. As societal structures evolved, the role of Vesta became more symbolic, reflecting changing beliefs and practices. Despite the diminishing power of the Vestals and the gradual decline of traditional worship, her essence remained vital. It served as a quiet reminder of the past, echoing through the ruins that still stand, whispering stories of resilience and continuity in a world ever in flux. The sacred flame represented more than mere fire. It was a symbol of life, purity, and the enduring spirit of Roman civilization. This flickering light was tended to with utmost care, embodying the divine connection between the earthly realm and the gods, particularly Vesta, the goddess of the hearth. The flame's perpetual nature reflected the belief in stability and prosperity, its presence signifying the strength of the community and the favor of the divine. Extinguishing the flame was a grave act, often perceived as a harbinger of misfortune. Each Vestal was entrusted with the duty of maintaining its glow, a responsibility that underscored their esteemed status within society. Rituals surrounding the flame were meticulously observed, enhancing the flame's significance as not merely a source of illumination, but as a beacon of hope and continuity. The process of ceremonial offerings enriched the atmosphere, filling the air with incense and the soft murmurs of prayers. These sacred practices reinforced the connection between the Vestals and the populace, as citizens sought security and favor through their intercession with the gods. As time progressed, the flame endured as a lasting emblem of the collective spirit, transcending generations. Its gentle flicker served as a testament to the intricate bond between faith, tradition, and the essence of Roman identity, even as the institution itself began to fade into history. The selection process for the Vestal virgins was steeped in both reverence and societal obligation. Candidates were meticulously chosen from noble families, ensuring a lineage that reflected the values of the Republic. This region operated under a stringent set of criteria, emphasizing purity and dedication. At a tender age of 6 to 10, girls were considered for this sacred role, marking the beginning of their lifelong commitment to maintaining the sacred flame. The criteria extended beyond mere ancestry. Candidates were required to possess physical perfection and an unblemished moral character. This emphasis on purity was not simply a reflection of personal virtue. It was a societal expectation woven into the fabric of Roman life. Families eager to elevate their status often presented their daughters, viewing selection as both an honor and a duty. Once potential candidates were identified, a formal process ensued, overseen by the reigning Pontifex Maximus. This ceremony involved rituals and oaths, binding the chosen to their sacred obligations. The selected Vestals would retreat to the Temple of Vesta, their lives thereafter a blend of service and isolation. These young women would remain dedicated to their duties for 30 years, a commitment that highlighted the weight of their responsibilities in the preservation of Rome's religious and cultural heritage. The fading company of these figures echoes through the annals of history, their legacy etched into the very stones of ancient temples. The ritualistic lives of these guardians began at the tender age of 6, when young girls were chosen for their purity and dedication. Entrusted to the temple, they entered a world steeped in solemn responsibility. This transition marked the beginning of a rigorous training, where they learnt the sacred rites and the significance of maintaining the eternal flame. The cloistered environment nurtured their devotion, fostering a profound connection to the divine through unwavering discipline. Years passed, and as the Vestals approached maturity, their roles expanded. The responsibilities, once simple, evolved into the stewardship of Rome's very heartbeat, the flame that symbolized the city's prosperity. Each Vestal became a living embodiment of stability and hope, their presence a source of solace for the citizens. At the age of 30, they completed their service, a period defined by unwavering commitment and sacrifice. Upon departure from this revered position, the once guardians faced the complexities of life beyond the temple walls. Many found themselves navigating societal expectations, while others embraced the newfound freedom. The twilight of their tenure did not signify an end, but rather a transition into a different phase of existence. The echoes of their dedication lingered, woven into the fabric of Roman life. As the city itself continued to evolve, the commitment to purity shaped the very essence of the Vestal's existence. Each young woman, chosen as a novice, underwent a solemn initiation, bound by an oath that demanded unwavering dedication to the goddess Vesta. This promise encompassed not only the maintenance of the sacred flame, but also a lifestyle of celibacy and unyielding loyalty. Such sacrifices underscored the significance of their role, as the preservation of the flame was believed to ensure the safety and prosperity of Rome itself. Phonaimenos marked the passage of time within this sacred life, with rituals emphasizing the devotion required by each Vestal. The flickering flame, a symbol of Vesta's protection, required constant attention, demanding vigilance and care. The community understood the gravity of these women's responsibilities, as the extinguishing of the flame would herald dire consequences for the city. Isolation was another aspect of their unique status. While the Vestals enjoyed privileges, including a degree of respect and influence, they were also set apart from ordinary citizens. This separation underscored their sacred purpose, as they navigated the delicate balance of power and spirituality. This commitment, steeped in ritual and reverence, marked the Vestals as not only guardians of the flame, but also as pivotal figures in the fabric of Roman religious life. Their legacy persists, quietly echoing through the annals of history. Rituals occupied the heart of this daily existence, requiring unwavering dedication and discipline. Each morning, the Vestal virgins would rise before dawn, attending to the sacred flame that symbolized the eternal spirit of Rome. This fire, tended with care, represented both the prosperity of the city and the purity of their vows. The extinguishing of this flame could signal dire consequences, reinforcing the weight of their responsibilities. Ceremonial duties unfolded with precision throughout the year. They participated in various festivals, offering prayers and sacrifices to the deities. The Vestals were entrusted with the preparation of sacred cakes for the Vestalia, a festival dedicated to the goddess Vesta, highlighting their pivotal role in ensuring divine favor. Each act performed was steeped in tradition, binding them to the spiritual fabric of Roman society. Isolation was a constant companion as they resided within the house of the Vestals, a dwelling near the Forum. This sanctuary provided protection but also served as a reminder of their commitment to celibacy and service. Their interactions with the public were limited, appearances were rare, yet they commanded respect and reverence when they emerged from their sacred confines. The dichotomy of privilege and restriction shaped their lives, marking them as both revered and confined figures within the vast metropolis of Rome. Their essence became intricately woven into the very identity of the city, and the House of the Vestal stands as a solemn reminder of an institution that once thrived at the heart of ancient Rome. This residence, with its imposing facade and sacred aura, a solemn reminder of an institution that once thrived at the heart of ancient Rome. This residence, with its imposing facade and sacred aura, a solemn reminder of an institution that once thrived at the heart of ancient Rome, served as the sanctum for those entrusted with maintaining the eternal flame. Within these walls, the atmosphere is thick with echoes of devotion, sacrifice, and reverence. It was here that the Vestals lived, bound by vows of chastity and service, dedicating their lives to the preservation of sacred rites. Surrounding this residence, the remnants of grand architectural elements tell a story of both opulence and austerity. Columns soar towards the sky, their once vibrant colors faded into muted tones of history. Sunlight filters through the expansive openings, casting gentle shadows that dance across the cool stone floors. The remnants of altars and ceremonial spaces hint at the vibrant religious life that once filled this region, where offerings were made and prayers whispered in hushed tones. Gardens, meticulously maintained, provided both sanctuary and sustenance, nurturing the spirits that dwelled within. Each bloom carried significance, connecting the sacred to the mundane. As time progressed, the whispers of the Vestals faded, leaving behind a ghostly stillness, a testament to their unwavering commitment to the divine even as the world around them changed irrevocably. The status of the Vestal virgins within Roman society was both elevated and fraught with complexity. Charged with maintaining the sacred fire of Vesta, they occupied a unique position that combined religious significance with social power. Their vow of chastity was not merely a personal commitment but a public symbol of Rome's stability and prosperity. This commitment bestowed upon them privileges not commonly afforded to women of the time. They enjoyed financial independence, owned property, and held the authority to free condemned prisoners. Influence extended beyond mere ritual. The Vestals served as vital intermediaries between the divine and the political. Their presence often sought in moments of crisis. They presided over various ceremonies and offered counsel to leaders, their opinions regarded with reverence. This duality of sacred and secular roles reinforced their importance in the broader fabric of Roman culture. The eventual decline of the Vestal order mirrored Rome's evolving dynamics as the empire faced increasing challenges, both external and internal. The sanctity of their role became more fragile. The shift in religious paradigms led to a diminished perception of their influence, yet remnants of their legacy linger in the ruins of ancient temples. These echoes serve as a reminder of a time when the sacred and the societal were intricately intertwined, quietly influencing the course of history. The influence of the Vestal virgins extended beyond the confines of their sacred duties. As guardians of the state religion, they held a unique position within the political landscape of ancient Rome. Their vow of chastity not only symbolized purity, but also acted as a powerful political tool, intertwining their fates with the stability of the Republic. The presence of these women ensured the favor of the gods, which was crucial for the prosperity of the state. Rituals performed by this order were deeply embedded in the fabric of governance. Their involvement in public ceremonies conferred legitimacy upon various political leaders and decisions. An unbroken flame symbolized the continuity of the state, and the Vestals were its keepers. In moments of crisis, Their authority could sway public sentiment, granting them a rare influence that extended into the corridors of power. Recognition often came in the form of privileges that other women in Rome did not enjoy. They could own property, manage estates, and even participate in legal proceedings. These rights were a direct reflection of their revered status. The community's reverence for their role offered a degree of protection, allowing them to navigate the complex world of Roman politics with a certain degree of autonomy. This relationship between the Vestals and the state exemplifies the delicate balance between religious duty and political power. Legal privileges afforded to the Vestal virgins were significant, establishing them as unique figures within Roman society. Their status provided them with protections that extended beyond those of ordinary citizens. For instance, they held the right to own property, a rarity among women of their time. This autonomy allowed them to engage in financial transactions, securing their independence in a male-dominated society. In matters of the law, these women received special treatment, enjoying immunity from prosecution for certain offenses. Such exemptions were rooted in their sacred roles, reinforcing the belief that their purity was essential to the city's welfare. The legal framework surrounding the Vestals included the severe consequences for any violation of their vows. If found guilty of unchaste behavior, they faced the ultimate punishment, a fate that underscored the gravity of their commitment. Their unique position also entitled them to certain public honors, often accompanied by privileges such as the right to ride in a carriage and the ability to free any condemned prisoner simply by touching them. These distinctions reinforced their status as intermediaries between the divine and the mortal realm. The legal protections and privileges not only elevated the Vestals in society, but also intertwined their existence with the very fabric of Rome, solidifying their importance in both civic and religious life. Sacramental duties defined the role of the Vestals, marking them as pivotal figures during major festivals and rituals. Each event held within the calendar demanded their presence, symbolizing divine favor and societal continuity. The Vestals presided over the opening of the sacred fire, an act considered essential for the city's prosperity. This flame, kept alight as a symbol of Rome's eternal spirit, granted the Vestals a unique responsibility that underscored their significance in public consciousness. Various festivals, such as the Vestalia, celebrated the goddess Vesta, drawing crowds eager to witness the rituals. During this time, the Vestals would lead processions, donning traditional robes adorned with symbols of their sacred duty. Their participation in the processions was not merely ceremonial. It reinforced the connection between the divine and the citizens of Rome. The rituals often included offerings and sacrifices, ensuring the favor of the gods. Each act was meticulously performed. As precision was paramount, any misstep could be interpreted as a harbinger of doom for the city. In these moments, the Vestals embodied both reverence and authority, their silence as powerful as the prayers they uttered. With each passing year, these ceremonies solidified their role within the spiritual and civic framework of Rome, securing a legacy that would endure long after their time. State sacrifices relied heavily on the expertise of the Vestals, whose presence was integral to the ritualistic fabric of Roman society. This sacred duty involved the meticulous preparation of offerings, ensuring that every detail adhered to ancient customs. Flames danced in the sacred hearth, maintained by these priestesses, symbolizing the eternal bond between the divine and the state. The act of preserving this fire echoed a promise of ongoing prosperity and protection for the city. During significant ceremonies, the Vestals played a pivotal role in mediating the relationship between the populace and their gods. Their participation lent an air of solemnity and devotion, as they offered prayers and blessings, invoking divine favor. The rituals unfolded in the forum, where throngs gathered, eyes fixed on the ceremonial proceedings, drawing strength from the Vestal's unwavering commitment. Each sacrifice was underscored by the understanding that its success could dictate the welfare of the state. The outcome of these rituals was believed to reflect the moral standing of the citizens, making the Vestals not only spiritual figures but also vital links to the civic identity. Over time, the delicate balance between reverence and duty shaped their role, fostering an enduring connection with the very essence of Roman life and governance, allowing them to transcend generations even as the world around them shifted. The white veil served as a profound symbol of purity and dedication, intricately linked to the identity of the Vestal virgins. This garment, meticulously crafted from fine linen, not only marked their sacred status, but also established a visual representation of their commitment to the divine and the state. Its unblemished color signified a life free from blemish, reflecting the unyielding expectations placed upon them by society. Adorned with the veil, each Vestal became an embodiment of the goddess Vesta, a living testament to the sanctity of the hearth and home. The act of wearing such a garment was both a personal and public declaration, an affirmation of their role in maintaining the sacred flame that symbolized Rome's prosperity. This garment also distinguished them from the outside world, creating an aura of otherness that set them apart from the common citizenry. The significance of the white veil extended beyond mere aesthetics. It represented the internal struggle of these women. It represented the internal struggle of these women, balancing personal desires with the demands of their sacred vows. Each time they donned the veil, they reaffirmed their identity, cloaking themselves not just in fabric, but in a legacy that spanned centuries. This simple yet powerful attire encapsulated their unwavering dedication, profoundly influencing how they were perceived within the fabric of Roman society. The Roman army, a formidable force of discipline and strategy, often relied on the spiritual guidance offered by the Vestals. During times of conflict, their presence was seen as a stabilizing influence, reinforcing the connection between divine favor and military success. Sacred rites performed by these priestesses were believed to ensure the protection of the city and its soldiers, creating an atmosphere of confidence in the face of adversity. In this region, the Vestals maintained the sacred fire within the Temple of Vesta, a symbol of the eternal hearth of Rome. Its flame, carefully tended, was thought to be vital for the city's prosperity. When armies prepared for battle, the rituals, including offerings and prayers, took on a heightened significance. These ceremonies fostered a sense of unity, linking the soldiers' physical courage with spiritual fortitude. Amidst the chaos of war, the Vestals provided a serene presence, embodying the ideals of piety and sacrifice. Their vows of chastity and service not only marked them as revered figures, but also as essential protectors of the state. The intertwining of military might and religious duty created a unique dynamic where the spiritual realm and the harsh realities of war coexisted. Such relationships shaped the narrative of Rome during its expansion, illustrating the profound impact of faith on the empire's fortunes. The concept of purity held immense cultural significance within Roman society, serving as a foundational aspect of religious and social practices. It permeated various facets of life, influencing everything from personal conduct to public ceremonies. Rituals were meticulously designed to uphold these ideals, ensuring that the sanctity of the divine was maintained. This need for purity extended to individuals who served the gods, notably the Vestal virgins, whose vows embodied the highest standards of moral and physical cleanliness. In this context, the Vestals represented a bridge between the human realm and the divine. Trees granted them considerable privileges, yet their lives were governed by strict regulations. Each Vestal was required to remain chaste, a commitment that was seen as essential for protecting the city from misfortunes. The belief in their purity was intertwined with the prosperity of Rome, where their rituals were thought to directly influence the favor of the gods. Public perception of purity also reflected broader societal values, illustrating the connection between personal integrity and civic duty. The consequences of failing to uphold these ideals were severe, impacting not just individual lives but the collective well-being of the city. Such intricate beliefs highlight the delicate interplay of faith and culture, underpinning the very fabric of Roman identity in a rapidly evolving empire. The oversight of the Vestal Virgins fell under the authority of the Pontifex Maximus, the highest religious official in ancient Rome. This position ensured that the sacred duties of the Vestals were not only maintained but also integrated within the broader religious framework of Roman society. The Pontifex Maximus acted as a guardian of the flame, symbolizing both the divine and the societal stability that the Vestals represented. In this role, it was critical for the Pontifex Maximus to enforce the strict vows of chastity taken by the Vestals. Their purity was believed to directly influence the well-being of the city and its inhabitants. The rituals performed by the Vestals, under the watchful eye of the Pontifex, served to strengthen the connection between the divine and the mortal, ensuring that both realms remained in harmony. Unceremonial duties included the vital task of keeping the sacred flame alight, a symbol of the goddess Vesta's presence. Should this flame extinguish, it was seen as an ominous sign, indicating potential calamity for the city. The Pontifex Maximus, therefore, would monitor the Vestals closely, ensuring that not only their rituals were executed flawlessly, but also that the sanctity of their vows was upheld. Such vigilance reflected the profound responsibilities intertwined with the role of the Pontifex Maximus in safeguarding Roman spirituality. Accusations of impurity became a significant source of conflict within the ancient institution. The Vestal Virgins, revered for their dedication, were not immune to scrutiny. The slightest hint of impropriety cast a long shadow over their reputations. It was not merely the act of violation that led to condemnation. Rumors and insinuations could escalate quickly, ensnaring even the most innocent. This tension sparked numerous trials, where the accused would stand before the powerful and the judgmental, their fates often resting on the shifting sands of public opinion. The punishment for perceived transgressions was severe. A Vestal found guilty could face execution, an act that underscored the gravity attached to their vows. The ritual of immurement, a slow and solitary confinement, served as a stark reminder of the expectations weighing heavily upon them. In the heart of Rome, the consequences of such accusations reverberated beyond individual lives, affecting the fabric of societal order. These controversies revealed underlying tensions within Roman society, where power dynamics shifted and traditional values were tested. The sacred fire, a symbol of eternal purity, flickered anxiously, reflecting the fragility of the institution. Each trial and every accusation contributed to the gradual erosion of confidence in these guardians of spirituality. The gentle fade of an ancient institution began to take form, marked by these conflicts and the shadows they cast across the eternal city. Legal proceedings surrounding the Vestals were steeped in ritual and tradition, reflecting the sacred duties entrusted to them. Accusations of neglect or impropriety brought forth severe consequences, with the slightest transgression regarded as a grave offense against both the state and the divine. A trial would unfold, often conducted in the presence of high-ranking officials and religious leaders. The atmosphere became tense and dark as the sanctity of the priestesses was weighed against the demands of public morality and civic pride. In these proceedings, testimonies were extracted, and the accused faced scrutiny that penetrated the very core of their existence. A sacred vow of chastity, fundamental to their role, served as both shield and sword, determining the fate of those who served in this elevated station. Punishments for the guilty were dire. Failure to uphold the sacred oath could lead to execution, a fate reserved for only the most egregious violations. This merciless standard emphasized the weight of their responsibilities within Roman society. The fading company of Vestals, once held in reverence, now faced a chilling reality. With each trial, the distance between divine favor and human consequence narrowed, leaving behind a legacy marked by both devotion and despair, illustrating the profound tension between sacred duty and the unforgiving nature of societal expectations. The societal transformations of late antiquity reshaped existing institutions, including the Vestal Virgins. As the Roman Empire faced economic strain and political instability, the priorities of the populace began to shift. Increasingly, the sacred rituals once dedicated to the goddess Vesta became overshadowed by the growing influence of Christianity. This new faith, with its emphasis on personal salvation and community over ritualistic observance, contributed to a gradual erosion of traditional practices. In this evolving landscape, the significance of the Vestal Virgins waned. Their sacred vows, which once commanded respect and adherence, were perceived through a different lens. The sanctity of their role diminished, interpreted as a relic of a fading pagan past. This shift was not abrupt, but rather a slow, persistent decline, marked by diminishing participation in sacred rites and reduced public funding for the Temple of Vesta. As the number of Vestals dwindled, the remaining members grappled with an identity crisis, caught between their historical significance and the encroaching tide of change. Each passing year saw fewer initiates willing to embrace the rigorous commitment demanded by this ancient order. The reverence once afforded to these priestesses dwindled, leaving echoes of their former glory amidst the ruins of a once vibrant tradition. Now a quiet testament to a transformative era in human belief and practice. The emergence of Christianity marked a profound shift in societal values, gradually overshadowing existing pagan institutions. This new faith presented an alternative narrative, one that resonated with a growing population seeking solace and community. As it spread across the Roman Empire, the influence of Christianity began to permeate various aspects of daily life, challenging the established norms and rituals that were once central to the pagan experience. Pagan institutions, such as the Vestal Virgins, found themselves in a precarious position. The sanctity of their roles was undermined as the populace turned toward the teachings of Christ, prioritizing messages of salvation over ancient rites. The sacred hearths that had once flickered with the flames of Vesta began to extinguish, relegating their guardians to the pages of history. Temples dedicated to the old gods fell into neglect, their marble columns succumbing to the relentless embrace of time and nature. In this evolving landscape, the remnants of paganism transformed into relics, reminders of the complex interplay between tradition and innovation. The gradual decline of these institutions reflected a broader cultural shift, where new beliefs redefined the moral and ethical frameworks of society. Consequently, the gentle fade of ancient practices illuminated the tension between the old and the new, shaping the beliefs that would guide generations to come. The past, thus, remained etched in the annals of human history, serving as both a caution and a foundation for emerging faiths. The gradual shift in religious power marked a significant transformation within the ancient landscape. Paganism, with its pantheon of deities and rituals, once dominated the spiritual lives of many. It filled cities with temples and altars, echoing with the reverberations of offerings and prayers. Each festival celebrated the cycles of nature and the favor of gods, binding communities in shared beliefs and practices. With the rise of Christianity, this vibrant framework faced an inevitable decline. The new faith, rooted in the teachings of a single figure, offered a markedly different perspective on existence and the divine. It emphasized personal salvation, fostering a sense of individual connection to the divine rather than reliance on a myriad of gods. This transition unfolded gradually, influenced by political shifts and social dynamics, as emperors aligned themselves with the emerging Christian doctrine. The once pervasive pagan institutions began to dwindle. The last vestiges of the Vestal virgins, guardians of ancient rites, epitomized this poignant shift. Their sacred responsibilities diminished, replaced by the burgeoning influence of clergy and councils that dictated ecclesiastical authority. This region, rich with the remnants of its past, now bore witness to the slow erasure of its pagan roots. Temples crumbled while new places of worship rose, embodying a profound transformation in belief systems and cultural identity. The echoes of ancient chants faded, yielding to the solemnity of new liturgies, altering the course of spiritual life forever. These transformations marked a significant turning point in religious practice. The last Vestal, a solitary figure among the ashes of tradition, embodied both the reverence and the decline of an institution that had stood for centuries. Historical accounts suggest her role was not merely ceremonial, it was steeped in the collective memory of Rome, symbolizing purity, service, and the sacred fire that had once burned brightly at the heart of the city. In the aftermath of the Vestal's disappearance, the fabric of Roman spirituality began to unravel. The rites, once integral to the fabric of civic duty, lost their grip on the populace, resulting in a gradual disintegration of communal identity. This region, once vibrant with the energy of shared beliefs, now felt the weight of an empty temple, echoing with silence where prayers once soared. Some chroniclers noted the unease among citizens as the absence of the Vestal nurtured a creeping sense of uncertainty. The spiritual void led many to seek solace in emerging philosophies and foreign deities. Rituals, once filled with fervor, became mere remnants of a past that seemed distant and unattainable. The delicate balance of power between state and religion shifted, paving the way for new paradigms within the evolving Roman landscape. The Vestal's gentle fade thus signified more than a loss. It encapsulated the broader metamorphosis of an empire. Public perception of the Vestals reflected a complex interplay of reverence and skepticism, often captured in the literature and art of the time. These women embodied the intersection of divine favor and societal obligation, their roles frequently romanticized in poetry and prose. Writers hailed their purity and commitment, often elevating them to almost mythical status. This portrayal served to reinforce the significance of their duties within a shifting cultural landscape. Altruistic representations further solidified their image, often depicting Vestals in solemnity, adorned in flowing white robes, with fire symbolizing the sacred flame they tended. As sculptures and frescoes, the serene expressions conveyed a sense of otherworldliness, embodying the ideal of chastity and piety. Public spaces, adorned with such imagery, reflected a collective memory, honoring their once central role in Roman spirituality. Yet, essential role in Roman spirituality. Yet, beneath this facade lay a current of skepticism. Some literary works questioned the relevance of such institutions, highlighting the tension between tradition and evolving societal norms. Depictions in satire often undermined their sanctity, showcasing them as symbols of a bygone era, struggling to maintain their place in a rapidly transforming city. This duality of veneration and critique captured the essence of the Vestal's complex legacy, illustrating how an ancient institution navigated the currents of change within the fabric of Roman life. Literature served as a lens through which Vestal virgins were perceived, revealing a spectrum of portrayals that oscillated between reverence and ridicule. These portrayals often highlighted their dual role as guardians of sacred fire and as symbols of societal expectation. In poetry and prose, Vestals were depicted as embodiments of purity and devotion, their chaste vows elevating them to a status revered by both the populace and the elite. Contrastingly, some authors employed these figures to critique prevailing societal norms. Satirical works often presented them as relics, caught in the crossfire of an evolving moral compass. Their once untouchable status began to wane, leaving them vulnerable to the harsh scrutiny of a city that no longer fully valued their contributions. This tension resonated in the writings of prominent poets and philosophers, who utilized them as metaphors for fidelity and the fragility of tradition. The symbolism of the Vestals extended beyond the realm of religion, intertwining with themes of power and gender. Their narratives reflected the struggles faced by women in a patriarchal society, often paralleling the broader discourse on female agency and autonomy. In this context, the Vestals emerged as complex figures, both revered and ridiculed, mirroring the intricate dynamics of their time and the shifting landscape of Roman identity. These complex figures significantly shaped perceptions of women's roles within Roman society. Tasked with maintaining the sacred fire of Vesta, their primary duty symbolized the stability and continuity of the state. This sacred responsibility bestowed upon them a unique status, elevating their influence beyond that of ordinary women. The Vestals served as a benchmark for virtue, their chastity and dedication frequently held up as ideals for all Roman women to aspire to, reinforcing a societal expectation of piety and loyalty. Their presence within the religious framework provided a distinct avenue for women to participate in public life, albeit in a limited capacity. Through their rituals and ceremonies, they engaged with powerful political figures, their opinions sometimes influencing decisions of significant national importance. This unusual blend of public engagement and private obligation created a complex narrative of femininity. In this region of ancient Rome, the Vestals stood apart, navigating a delicate balance between autonomy and societal expectation. While they had rights that few other women enjoyed, such as owning property and making wills, these privileges came with strict limitations. The fading company of Vestal priestesses illustrates a broader conversation about women's agency, showcasing how sacred roles could simultaneously empower and confine. The evolution of their institution reflects the shifting paradigms within Roman society and the ongoing negotiation of female identity. The Vestals maintained a unique position within the Roman hierarchy, occupying a space that intertwined spiritual authority with social prominence. This order, composed of 6 priestesses, was selected from the elite class, ensuring their influence was tethered to Rome's most powerful families. Their status conferred an exceptional degree of respect and autonomy, which starkly contrasted with the limitations placed on women in other spheres of life. The connection to the elite was not merely ceremonial. It reinforced the social fabric of Rome. Families invested in having their daughters join this sacred institution, viewing it as a means to elevate their lineage and secure favor with the divine. Through this association, the Vestals became conduits of power, their roles beyond mere religious obligations. They partook in public ceremonies, and their presence at crucial events underscored their importance within the political landscape. The intricate relationship with societal elite extended to the privileges they enjoyed. Vestals were granted rights uncommon for women of their time, such as the ability to own property and conduct business. This autonomy allowed them to navigate the complexities of Roman life more freely than their contemporaries. The eventual decline of this esteemed order marked a significant shift as the intersections of faith, power, avar, and gender began to unravel, reflecting broader transformations within Roman culture. This architectural legacy provides a tangible connection to the ancient Roman world, embodying both reverence and practicality. Temples dedicated to the Vestal Virgins, particularly the one located in the Forum, stand as a testament to their esteemed position. The circular structure, characterized by its grand columns and intricate friezes, symbolized purity and divine favor. Its design reflected the meticulous standards of Roman engineering, with harmonious proportions that conveyed a sense of serenity. Surrounding these sacred spaces, shrines emerged, often adorned with offerings that expressed devotion. These sites served not only as places of worship, but also as community focal points, where citizens gathered to seek blessings and guidance. Each altar, carefully positioned, contributed to the overall landscape of the city, emphasizing the importance of the Vestals in public life. Viome mai son. Tarukun text of Roman architecture. These structures highlighted the blend of functionality and spirituality. The use of durable materials ensured that these sites would withstand the test of time, while the artistry involved in their construction reflected societal values. As these relics of the past slowly succumbed to the passage of time, they did not vanish entirely. Fragments of stone and remnants of inscriptions continue to speak, offering glimpses into the sacred practices that once shaped the lives of countless individuals in this remarkable civilization. The sacred role of the Vestal Virgins represented a unique intersection of spirituality and civic duty within the city of Rome. Responsible for maintaining the sacred flame of Vesta, they symbolized both the stability and continuity of the state. Each virgin, chosen in childhood, dedicated her life to this service for 30 years, embodying a commitment that transcended personal desires. The rituals they performed were integral to urban life, woven into the fabric of the city's public and private spheres. These ceremonies unfolded in the heart of Rome, amidst bustling streets and towering monuments. The rituals not only invoked divine favor, but also reinforced societal hierarchies and communal identity. Gatherings at the Temple of Vesta drew citizens together, transforming the sacred into a shared experience. The flames flickered, casting shadows over the assembled masses, reminding them of the tenuous connection between the divine and the mortal realm. In moments of crisis, the presence of the Vestals offered reassurance. Their vows and rituals were believed to safeguard the city from calamity. With their decline, The vibrant urban rituals began to wane, leaving echoes of a past that once thrived in this remarkable civilization. The remnants of their influence linger, silently marking the transition from a world steeped in tradition to one that embraced change. The Vestal's practices and rituals established a foundation for subsequent religious orders, shaping the frameworks of devotion and duty. Their commitment to perpetual service and purity set a precedent, echoed in later monastic traditions. This region, once sacred to Vesta, nurtured principles of fidelity that can be traced through centuries of religious evolution. In various faiths, the emphasis on chastity and community, reminiscent of the Vestal's vows, reflects a shared cultural thread. These new orders adapted the ancient ideals to their contexts. The solitary lives of monks and nuns often mirrored the Vestal dedication to divine service, though they operated within different symbolic landscapes. Structures built for communal worship and individual reflection arose. Echoing the sacred hearth of the Vestals, the rituals performed within these spaces, while distinct, resonate with the solemnity inherent in the Vestal rites, emphasizing continuity over rupture. Additionally, the concept of intercession, central to the Vestals' role in maintaining Rome's favor with the gods, found its way into later religious practices. Clergy members and religious figures became mediators, drawing on the Vestal legacy of spiritual guardianship. This gentle evolution illustrates how ancient institutions can shape future beliefs, creating nuanced connections across time and faith. The fading company of the Vestals to Strodis Taum Besaisadi, enriching the tapestry of religious history. Modern scholarship has unearthed diverse interpretations surrounding the Vestals, revealing an institution marked by both reverence and rigor. This ancient priesthood, dedicated to the goddess Vesta, served as a linchpin in Roman religious life, embodying societal values and norms. They were not merely custodians of the sacred flame, but also symbols of purity and civic duty. The intricate regulations governing their lives underscore the gravity of their role, with strict codes dictating their conduct and responsibilities. Researchers delve into the socio-political implications of their service. Analysis often highlights the juxtaposition of their revered status against the underlying patriarchal structures of Roman society. The Vestals wielded a unique power, yet their position was precariously balanced, tethered to the favor of those in authority. This duality marks them as subjects of intrigue, as scholars explore the nuances of their influence within a predominantly male-dominated framework. Artifacts and inscriptions provide further insight into their lives, revealing rituals and the veneration they received from the populace. These remnants help illuminate the complexities of their existence, fostering a deeper understanding of their significance. The Vestals, though no longer present, continue to evoke questions about gender, religion, and power dynamics, offering a rich field of study that connects the ancient world with contemporary discourse. The myth surrounding the Vestal Virgins embodies a complex interplay of folklore and historical legacy. These priestesses, sworn to a vow of chastity, were believed to hold the divine favor of Vesta, the goddess of the hearth. Their unique status afforded them privileges, such as the ability to own property and participate in societal events typically reserved for men. This duality of reverence and restriction illustrates the intricate societal roles women occupied within ancient Rome. Legends often emerged from their sanctified existence, tales of their divine protection and the catastrophic consequences of neglecting the sacred flame permeated Roman culture. The extinguishing of this flame symbolized dire omens, intertwining the welfare of the city with the purity of its priestesses. Rituals surrounding the Vestals emphasized their essential role in maintaining Rome's stability, reflecting a deep-seated belief in the power of the divine feminine. The legacy of these women extends beyond ancient texts, influencing modern interpretations of female agency within religious contexts. Scholars examine how the narratives of the Vestals have shifted over time, resonating through various feminist discourses and cultural critiques. As researchers delve into these stories, the enduring impact of the Vestal virgins continues to shape contemporary understandings of gender and spirituality, revealing layers of meaning that transcend their historical context. Excavations in this region have uncovered remnants of the Vestal Virgins' sacred spaces, revealing the architectural grandeur and meticulous design that defined their sanctuaries. The House of the Vestals, located adjacent to the Roman Forum, stands as a testament to the reverence with which these women were held. Discoveries of altars, votive offerings, and ceremonial artifacts indicate the deep spiritual significance of their role in maintaining the eternal flame of Vesta. Artifacts such as oil lamps and intricate pottery provide insight into the daily lives of the virgins, reflecting their rituals and the domestic aspects of their service. The study of inscriptions found in this area offers a glimpse into the societal expectations placed upon them, emphasizing their unique position within Roman culture. Each layer of soil, excavated carefully, tells a story of devotion, sacrifice, and the passage of time. Burials in proximity to their sanctum further illuminate the intertwining of ritual and mortality. These remains, often adorned with jewelry and personal items, suggest that the Vestals occupied a liminal space between the sacred and the secular. The careful reconstruction of these sites allows historians to piece together the narrative of an institution that once wielded considerable influence, its echoes still resonating through the corridors of history. Such findings contribute to a deeper understanding of ancient Roman society and its intricate belief systems. While cultural interpretations of the Vestal Virgins have surfaced in various forms of media, reflecting their enduring fascination, films often utilize the imagery of these priestesses to portray themes of purity, sacrifice, and the complexities of religious duty. Thorns. They serve as conduits for exploring ancient Roman values, juxtaposed against contemporary dilemmas. In literature, the Vestals appear as symbols of both strength and vulnerability, their narratives weaving through a rich tapestry of historical fiction, where their roles are examined under the lens of gender and power dynamics. These representations in popular culture frequently emphasize the tension between personal desires and societal expectations. This region of storytelling presents the Vestals as both revered figures and victims of circumstance, embodying the struggles of women in ancient societies. They become focal points for discussions about autonomy, devotion, and the often harsh realities of life dictated by tradition. Television series and documentaries delve into the rituals and lives of these priestesses, offering insights into their daily practices and the weight of their responsibilities. Such portrayals, while dramatized, often maintain an underlying respect for the historical context, allowing audiences to engage with these ancient women's lives. The Vestals thus continue to captivate modern imagination, bridging the gap between the past and present through various creative expressions. This unique position offered the Vestals a remarkable blend of autonomy and responsibility within a patriarchal society. Serving as priestesses of Vesta, they maintained the sacred flame, symbolizing the continuity of Rome itself. Their role transcended traditional gender expectations, allowing them a degree of influence seldom granted to women of their time. While the broader society relegated women to domestic spheres, The Vestals wielded a certain power, bound by vows yet embraced by the community. The sacred duties bestowed upon them came with privileges, such as the ability to own property, make wills, and enjoy a level of respect that other women could rarely attain. These privileges created a paradox, as their freedom was conditional upon their unwavering commitment to chastity and service. A failure to uphold these vows resulted in severe repercussions, including a fate of entombment, a grim reflection of the societal pressures they faced. Interactions with powerful figures further illuminated their unique status. Emperors sought their blessings and protection, recognizing the importance of their sacred role. This relationship underscored the complex dynamics of gender, authority, and biorality in ancient Rome. Within this context, the Vestals became not only symbols of divine favor, but also embodiments of resilience amidst the rigid structures of power that defined their world. The expansion of Roman conquests inevitably altered the landscape of power and spirituality. As territories were annexed, the Vilni influence of the Vestals began to wane. These priestesses, once pivotal in maintaining the sacred fire and thus the city's prosperity, faced challenges from newly integrated cultures that often brought their own religious practices. Their role shifted from central figures of authority to representatives of an increasingly distant past, overshadowed by the more militaristic and pragmatic concerns that accompanied territorial expansion. The influx of diverse beliefs led to a gradual erosion of the unchallenged reverence once afforded to them. New deities and rituals entered the Roman pantheon, competing for the allegiance of the populace. In this evolving spiritual landscape, the Vestals struggled to maintain their relevance. The sacred rites that had once drawn crowds began to attract fewer devotees as the empire expanded outward, drawing focus toward conquest rather than ceremony. Despite their diminished status, the Vestals adapted, seeking to preserve their ancient traditions amidst changing tides. They forged alliances with influential military leaders, attempting to secure their institution's place within the new order. This negotiation reflected a broader trend within Roman society. As it expanded, so too did the complexities of faith, governance, and the delicate balance of power that characterized the empire. Economic support for the Vestal virgins was crucial to their function within Roman religious and societal structures. The state allocated substantial resources to ensure their maintenance, reflecting the institution's significance. This funding derived from various sources, including land grants, public donations, and the spoils of war. Such allocations enabled the virgins to uphold their sacred duties while living in relative comfort and seclusion within the house of the Vestals. The management of these resources was not solely a matter of sustenance. It involved careful oversight to maintain the prestige associated with their role. Investments in agricultural estates provided a steady income, allowing the virgins to contribute to public rituals and festivals, reinforcing their status as intermediaries between the divine and the mortal realm. This economic independence also served to elevate the institution, making it integral to the socio-political landscape. Competition for resources occasionally created friction with local elites, who sought to influence the virgins for personal gain. Such dynamics often illuminated the complexities of power in Roman society, where religious authority intertwined with economic interests. Despite these challenges, the virgins maintained their position, embodying a commitment to the rituals that safeguarded Rome's prosperity and favor with the gods. The gradual erosion of these financial foundations paralleled shifts in the empire, marking the slow decline of both the virgins and their revered traditions. This erosion extended beyond financial realms, intertwining with the very fabric of civic religion. The Vestals once served as a potent symbol of national identity, embodying the sacred relationship between the divine and the Roman state. Their commitment to maintaining the sacred fire represented not only religious observance, but also the unity of the populace, affirming shared values and cultural continuity. Rituals performed by these priestesses were integral to public life, reinforcing the connection between citizens and the gods. The presence of the Vestals at significant state ceremonies fostered a sense of collective identity, reminding the populace of their heritage and shared responsibilities. With each extinguished flame, a flicker of that unity waned, leaving behind a growing void in the civic consciousness. As the empire faced external pressures and internal strife, the diminished visibility of these priestesses marked a pivotal shift. The loss of their protective and nurturing role contributed to a fragmentation of societal bonds, as citizens increasingly turned toward new forms of belief and allegiance. In this context, the Vestals became emblematic of a bygone era, their fading influence highlighting the broader transformations within Roman society. The Vers Sacrum stands as a pivotal ritual within the Vestal tradition, symbolizing renewal and the cyclical nature of life. This sacred practice involved dedicating the offspring born during the spring to the gods, an act that intertwined the fate of the Roman people with divine favor. It served as a potent reminder of the delicate balance between human existence and celestial oversight. In these moments, a solemn atmosphere enveloped the sacred grounds, where the Vestals, cloaked in white, would oversee the proceedings with unwavering commitment. Each spring, the selection of these children, destined to be sacrificed or offered to the gods, reflected the community's deep-seated beliefs regarding survival and prosperity. The act was not merely ceremonial. It was a profound engagement with the divine, reinforcing the notion that the city's well-being depended on maintaining piety and reverence. The implications of the Vers Sacrum extended beyond the immediate ritualistic practices. It illustrated the intertwining of civic duty with religious obligation, as the chosen ones were seen as channels through which the will of the gods could manifest. This relationship cultivated a sense of unity among the populace, binding them to their deities and to one another. As the Vestal influence waned, such connections began to fray, leaving echoes of a profound tradition in a transforming cultural landscape. The Vestals served as a bridge between the state and the spiritual realm, embodying a unique role in Roman society. Their presence provided a sense of stability, anchoring the populace in rituals that emphasized communal identity. This region, steeped in ancient belief systems, witnessed the emergence of local cults that sought to coexist alongside the established practices of the Vestals. Interactions often unfolded in subtle ways, as offerings to household deities intermingled with the sacred ceremonies conducted by these priestesses. Local cults, with their localized deities and specific rituals, gradually integrated their customs into the broader framework of Roman spirituality. This blending created a rich mosaic of belief, where the ancient rites of the Vestals were occasionally complemented by the fervor of local traditions. In the waning days of their prominence, the Vestals faced challenges that tested their resilience. The rise of new religious movements drew attention away from traditional Roman practices, resulting in a gradual shift in public sentiment. Gestation for followers led to an inevitable dilution of influence. Shrines dedicated to local gods began to flourish, echoing the desires of a populace eager for more personalized spirituality. Despite this transformation, the legacy of the Vestals persisted, serving as a reminder of an era when their sacred duties were vital to the fabric of Roman life. The interplay between these institutions shaped cultural identity, revealing a complex relationship between tradition and change. Historical accounts reveal that the gradual decline of the Vestal Virgins occurred amidst the shifting tides of Roman power and belief. The institution, once central to the spiritual and civic life of Rome, faced increasing scrutiny as the empire expanded and adopted new philosophies. These changes prompted a re-evaluation of ancient practices. By the 4th century, political and religious transformations culminated in the decision to abolish this ancient order. In the year 311, Emperor Maxentius officially ended the Vestals' sacred duties. Their once revered presence diminished, replaced by emerging faiths that resonated more profoundly with the populace. As temples fell into disrepair, the sacred flame, symbolizing the eternal life of Rome, flickered and faded. This region, once vibrant with ritual and devotion, transformed into a landscape marked by silence. The last priestesses, guardians of an ancient legacy, became mere echoes of a time when their roles were pivotal. Their disappearance signified more than just the loss of tradition. It represented the waning influence of the old gods in the face of Christianity's rise. The remnants of the Vestal's sanctum linger, yet they exist in a state of quiet dissolution. Ruins stand as solemn witnesses to an era that once thrived. Now enveloped in the shadows of history, the sacred flame extinguished, leaving behind a legacy that whispers through time. The psychological landscape of the Vestal Virgins reveals profound complexities. Serving as priestesses for a duration of 30 years, their lives were marked by rigorous expectations and societal reverence. Isolation from typical familial structures shaped their identities, often instilling a sense of purpose intertwined with immense pressure. It is suggested that the responsibilities fostered a dual existence. They were revered public figures yet confined by the constraints of their sacred vows. Research indicates that the psychological toll of such a role may have led to a unique form of resilience. The constant scrutiny they faced likely cultivated a profound sense of self-awareness and control, enabling them to navigate their dual identities. Studies have proposed that the Vestal's devotion might have induced a deep-seated loyalty to the institution, further complicating their emotional landscapes. The conflict between personal desire and public duty is a recurrent theme in their narratives. The rare instances of a Vestal breaking her vow of chastity resulted in severe consequences, reflecting the weight of societal expectations. This intersection of spirituality and obligation may have fostered a heightened sense of anxiety, coupled with the intense pride derived from their role. These intricate psychological dynamics reveal an institution that, while revered, was also a crucible of human experience, where individual identity and collective duty continuously intertwined. Comparative analysis highlights striking parallels between the Vestals and other religious institutions across various cultures. In ancient Greece, the priestesses of Vesta's counterpart, Hestia, maintained sacred fires embodying similar ideals of purity and devotion. These roles underscored a shared responsibility in safeguarding the divine presence and communal well-being. Such practices reveal a recurring theme within ancient religions, the vital importance of fire as a symbol of life and continuity. In the Near East, the temple priestesses of Inanna and Astarte also mirrored the Vestal's duality of public reverence and personal sacrifice. Ritualistic practices among these priestesses emphasized fertility and renewal, showcasing a collective reverence for the divine feminine. This connection suggests that the role of female religious figures often transcends cultural boundaries, uniting disparate beliefs through shared functions in society. Similarly, the Maenads of Dionysian cults exemplified the juxtaposition of controlled devotion and ecstatic expression, reflecting the multifaceted nature of worship in ancient times. Rituals often served to reinforce social cohesion, binding communities through shared beliefs and practices. These cross-cultural reflections illuminate how the Vestals fit within a broader framework of spiritual custodianship. This understanding fosters a deeper appreciation of the complexities inherent in the human inclination towards the sacred. The Vestals remain a compelling example of how societies navigate the intersection of personal faith and communal obligation. These priestesses were intertwined with the very fabric of Roman mythology, often regarded as embodiments of purity and sacred duty. Their origins trace back to the legend of Romulus and Remus, where the divine fire of Vesta, the goddess of the hearth, was said to be vital for the city's survival. This flame, maintained by the Vestals, symbolized the eternal life of Rome itself, drawing a direct connection between the divine and the mortal realm. In narratives, the Vestals were often depicted as guardians of the sacred flame, their ritualistic practices serving to appease the gods and ensure the favor of divine forces upon the city. This connection was not merely ceremonial. It was believed that the very fate of Rome hinged on their unwavering commitment. Should the flame extinguish, it was interpreted as a dire omen, signaling potential disaster and loss of favor from the god. Legends surrounding the Vestals also include tales of their extraordinary powers. They were said to possess the ability to grant pardon to condemned individuals, reflecting their unique status within society. With such authority, these figures navigated complex societal expectations while simultaneously embodying the virtues of chastity and service. Their narratives are a testament to the intricate relationship between mythology and societal structure in ancient Rome, highlighting the significant roles they played beyond mere religious function. The gradual decline of the Vestal virgins became evident during the late Roman Empire. Political turmoil and shifting religious paradigms diminished the authority and reverence once bestowed upon these priestesses. The transition from a polytheistic society to a burgeoning monotheistic framework shifted focus away from traditional Roman values, resulting in the Vestals' decreasing influence. This region, once vibrant with rituals and offerings, began to experience a subtle erosion of its sacred significance. Temples that had stood for centuries fell into neglect. The altars that once blazed with sacred flames extinguished by apathy. Legislative changes further marginalized their status as emperors sought to consolidate power and redefine religious practices. The sacred fire, which symbolized the heart of Rome, flickered dimly in the wake of evolving beliefs and societal priorities. The final years witnessed dwindling numbers among the Vestals. As public interest waned, the institution that had once been a cornerstone of Roman life faced inevitable obsolescence. In the year 311, the Edict of Toleration marked a turning point, emphasizing the acceptance of Christianity while effectively signaling the end of pagan practices. With this decree, the last vestiges of the Vestal virgins faded into history, leaving behind echoes of their once pivotal role in the fabric of Roman identity. Cultural memory surrounding the Vestal virgins endures through fragments of literature and historical texts. The reverence afforded to these priestesses is evident in the writings of Cicero and Livy, who both depicted their sacred duties with a sense of gravity. This region, once vibrant with the rituals and ceremonies that underscored their importance, now stands quiet, yet their legacy persists in the consciousness of a civilization that cherished them. Statues and altars scattered throughout the ancient city serve as silent testaments to their revered status. It is within these remnants that the essence of their service can be sensed, representing not just religious devotion but also societal structure. The rituals performed by the Vestals were believed to secure the favor of the gods, thereby protecting the city. The belief in their power to maintain the eternal flame reflected the interconnectedness of divine will and civic duty, a bond deeply ingrained in Roman culture. Artistic representations continue to narrate their story, encapsulating both their solemnity and their influence. As time progresses, their images transform, yet the core principles of duty, purity, and protection remain. Through these reflections, the memory of the Vestal Virgins is preserved, a gentle reminder of their integral role in shaping the values of an ancient society now lost to time. Moral authority in ancient Rome often resided within the unique space occupied by the Vestal Virgins. Their religious status conferred a distinct form of influence, transcending the mundane and intertwining with the secular fabric of society. This institution maintained a sacred fire, symbolizing the eternal vitality of Rome, which solidified their role as spiritual custodians. The boundaries between the sacred and the secular were subtly blurred, as the virgins wielded significant power in a patriarchal society. Their vows of chastity and service imbued them with an aura of purity, rendering them both revered and protected. For centuries, these women were not merely religious symbols, they were also pivotal in the political arena. Their endorsement or disapproval could sway public opinion, affecting decisions from the Senate to everyday citizens. In moments of crisis, the presence of a Vestal could calm unrest, reinforcing the belief that the favor of the gods was crucial for the state's well-being. The collective trust in their moral guidance spoke volumes about the intersections of religion and governance. The implications of their influence extended beyond rituals and ceremonies, deeply embedding themselves within the societal psyche, creating a dynamic interplay between belief and authority. This intricate relationship fostered stability, but also underscored the vulnerabilities inherent in relying on a singular institution for moral direction. The Vestal Virgins underwent a rigorous training regime, one steeped in the solemnity of tradition and the weight of responsibility. Selected from noble families, they were inducted into a life that demanded both intellectual and spiritual rigor. Their education encompassed the ancient texts, rituals, and the sacred laws that governed Roman society. This immersion ensured that they not only preserved the sacred fire within the Temple of Vesta, but also understood the significance of their role as custodians of Roman piety. Rituals were paramount. The virgins learned to perform complex ceremonies that underscored their connection to the divine. This education extended beyond mere performance. It encompassed the nuances of interpreting omens and understanding the will of the gods. Such knowledge was crucial, as the community relied on their insight for guidance during times of uncertainty. The intricacies of this training reflected the broader societal values of the time. The virgins served as symbols of purity and stability, embodying the very essence of Roman virtue. Their education was not solely a personal journey, but a communal necessity, ensuring the continuity of traditions that had been passed down through generations. As the institution began to fade, The loss of these rituals echoed through the fabric of Roman life. The decline of this once sacred role marked a significant shift, altering the spiritual landscape of the empire. Visual representations of the Vestals extend far beyond their time, illustrating their enduring significance in cultural memory. In ancient Roman art, these priestesses were often depicted clad in flowing white garments, symbolizing purity and devotion. This imagery conveyed their sacred duty to maintain the eternal flame, a vital aspect of Roman religious life. Sculptures, frescoes, and coins from the period frequently showcased them, engaged in ritualistic practices, reinforcing their esteemed status within society. Throughout the centuries, interpretations of the Vestals evolved. During the Renaissance, artists reimagined these figures, infusing classical themes with contemporary ideals. Their depictions reflected not only historical reverence, but also the shifting values of the time. Works by prominent painters featured them as embodiments of virtue and grace, often juxtaposed with mythological narratives that emphasized their sanctity. In more recent times, the Vestals have been incorporated into modern art and literature, symbolizing resilience and the complexities of female power. These representations highlight the balance between authority and vulnerability, capturing the intricate relationship between societal expectations and personal sacrifice. The lasting legacy of the Vestals, encapsulated in various forms of art, serves as a testament to their profound influence on cultural narratives. Transcending the confines of their historical context, their presence continues to resonate, illustrating the intricate interplay between spirituality and artistry through the ages. The Vestals played a crucial role in the delicate fabric of Roman statecraft. Their duties extended beyond the sacred, intertwining with the political landscape of the Republic. Guardians of the sacred flame, they symbolized stability and continuity, essential elements in the ever-shifting realm of power. The performance of their rituals was not merely a matter of personal devotion, it was a public demonstration of Rome's favor with the divine. In times of crisis, their influence became particularly pronounced. The Vestals served as mediators, often called upon to intercede in matters of state. Their ability to invoke the favor of the gods lent them a unique authority, making them vital figures in diplomatic engagements. These women, bound by vows of chastity and service, possessed an unparalleled sanctity that could sway the hearts of adversaries and allies alike. Ceremonies led by the Vestals were meticulously orchestrated, with every detail designed to reflect Rome's power and piety. The presence of these priestesses at key state functions reinforced the connection between governance and the divine. Through their steadfast dedication, they cultivated an atmosphere of trust and reverence, essential for the stability of the Republic. With the decline of their institution, the intricate balance they maintained began to falter, leaving a void in both spiritual and political realms. In the absence of their guiding presence, the state faced new challenges, underscoring the profound impact of their contributions. The influence of Vestals on gender ideals in Rome extended beyond their religious duties. They served as symbols of purity and virtue, showcasing the societal expectations placed on women. This region, defined by patriarchal structures, often relegated women to the private sphere, yet the Vestals occupied a unique position. Their vows of chastity and dedication to Vesta, the goddess of hearth and home, elevated their status, allowing them to wield considerable influence in both spiritual and civic matters. The presence of these priestesses challenged conventional norms, indicating that women could hold positions of power and respect. Their ability to intervene in legal matters and their roles as mediators further blurred the lines of gender expectations. In public life, they represented the idealized feminine virtues, while simultaneously participating in the religious framework of the state. Their decline mirrored the shifting dynamics of Roman society. As the empire expanded and transformed, the rigid ideals of gender began to evolve. The fading company of Vestals reflected broader societal changes, where the sanctity of their role diminished, and the emphasis on traditional gender roles resurfaced. The loss of their influence left a void, as the state sought to redefine the place of women within the complex tapestry of Roman civilization. Political ties characterized the relationship between the Vestals and the emperor, intertwining sacred duties with the currents of power. Their unique position granted them a degree of autonomy seldom experienced by women in Rome. This autonomy stemmed from their roles as guardians of the eternal flame, a symbol of the city's vitality and continuity. The emperors recognized that the Vestals' presence elevated their own authority, as these priestesses were seen as embodiments of the state's virtue and stability. An emperor's favor could significantly impact a Vestal's status, creating an intricate balance between divine obligation and political maneuvering. In periods of political turmoil, emperors often sought to align themselves with the Vestals to legitimize their reign. The rituals performed by these priestesses were essential, serving not just religious purposes, but also functioning as public displays of piety and loyalty to the state. The Vestals, by turn, maintained their influence by carefully navigating these relationships, ensuring that their sacred duties were respected even amid shifting political landscapes. The public perception of their role was crucial, as they represented the intersection of faith and governance. This duality allowed the Vestals to wield a subtle yet potent influence, shaping the spiritual and political life of Rome during their long-lasting presence. As their significance waned, so too did the intricate balance of power they had once maintained. The expulsion of the Vestals marked a critical juncture in Roman history, reflecting broader societal shifts. This region, once reverberating with their sacred duties, transformed as the influence of the priestesses diminished. The Vestal virgins, tasked with maintaining the eternal flame of Vesta, symbolized the city's stability and piety. Their removal from the sacred space indicated a rupture in the established religious order. In the 1st century CE, political upheaval exacerbated the decline of the Vestals. With the rise of emperors, the centralization of power often overshadowed the traditional religious institutions. The once revered priestesses faced scrutiny, their roles increasingly seen as vestiges of a bygone era. Political rivals exploited this vulnerability, leading to accusations of neglect or impropriety, which resulted in their expulsion from the priesthood. The aftermath of this expulsion rippled through Roman society. The sacred fire extinguished, signaling a broader decline of traditional beliefs. Public sentiment shifted, with citizens expressing a growing disconnection from the ancient practices that once unified them. The remaining fragments of this institution lingered in the memory of the populace, transformed into historical relics. This gradual erosion of their influence reflected not only a changing religious landscape, but also the complexities of power dynamics within the evolving Roman state. The Vestals served as enduring symbols of stability within Roman religion, representing a commitment to the sacred and the societal. Their role transcended mere ritual. It was emblematic of the continuity and permanence that the Roman populace sought amid shifting allegiances and emerging philosophies. This institution, anchored by the vow of chastity, embodied the harmony between divine favor and civic duty, reinforcing social order. Their presence within the forum, where public life converged, acted as a reminder of the connection between the divine and the mundane. The flame they tended, a sacred representation of Vesta, was seen as vital to the well-being of the city. Extinguishing it was thought to herald catastrophe, thus elevating their guardianship to a matter of national significance. As the empire expanded, the narrative surrounding their importance began to alter. Increasingly, political machinations and shifting allegiances encroached upon the once sacred chambers of the Vestals. The rise of new belief systems and the assimilation of diverse cultures diluted their once unassailable influence. This evolution, while gradual, marked a poignant shift in Roman identity, reflecting a society grappling with both its storied past and unfolding future. In this delicate interplay, the Vestals remained, albeit as shadows of their former selves, witnesses to a changing world. Their presence became integral to the Roman calendar, marking the rhythm of civic life through sacred rituals and festivals. The Vestals presided over critical ceremonies, ensuring the continuity of sacred fire, a symbol of Rome's enduring strength. This fire, tended with reverence, was not merely a flame but a representation of the city's vitality and divine favor. Fod so istikev, Faithov, the Vestalas and the Vessalia and the Vestalia showcased their significance during the Vestalia, held in June. The sacred objects of the goddess Vesta were unveiled, inviting citizens to partake in the reverence. This occasion fostered a connection to the divine while emphasizing the role of the Vestals as mediators between the human realm and the gods. The calendar was meticulously structured, with each month holding specific observances tied to agricultural cycles and military campaigns. The Vestals played a crucial role in determining auspicious dates for these events. Their insight derived from long-standing tradition and religious lore. Ritual purity and the observance of sacred time were paramount, reflecting a society deeply intertwined with its spiritual obligations. Even as the institution waned, their influence lingered within the fabric of Roman public life. Each ritual served as a reminder of past glories, slowly fading yet firmly anchored in the collective memory of a civilization that once thrived under the watchful eyes of its sacred guardians. The divine favor, integral to the functioning of Roman society, hinged upon the unwavering devotion of the Vestals. These priestesses embodied purity and piety, their lives dedicated to the service of Vesta, the goddess of the hearth, entrusted with keeping the sacred fire alight. They symbolized the continuity of Rome's spiritual life. Rituals performed daily ensured the favor of the gods, believed to protect the city from calamities and ensure bountiful harvests. It was within these hallowed walls that they conducted ceremonies, invoking blessings through offerings and prayers. The meticulous attention to detail underscored the belief that even the slightest error could invite divine wrath, jeopardizing the well-being of the entire populace. During significant public events, their presence lent an air of solemnity, reinforcing the connection between the divine and the earthly realm. The institution was not without its complexities. Each Vestal was chosen from noble families, yet their vows of chastity severed them from typical societal roles. This duality fostered a unique status, celebrated yet bound by strict regulations. Failure to uphold their sacred duties could result in severe punishment, illustrating the relentless expectations placed upon them. In this context, the Vestals stood as a paradox, revered yet constrained, their legacy intertwined with the beliefs that shaped an empire's fate. The gentle fade of their influence marks an era transitioning into a new understanding of spirituality. Cultural exchanges during Roman expansion influenced the role of these priestesses significantly. As territories were annexed, local customs and religious practices began to intertwine with traditional Roman beliefs. This integration saw the Vestals adapting to new cultural landscapes while maintaining the core tenets of their ancient rites, their sacred duties, deeply rooted in the preservation of the city's spiritual integrity, reflected a broader acceptance of diverse practices. In this context, the Vestals acted not only as guardians of the flame, but also as conduits for the merging of ideas. As they engaged with various peoples, rituals from distant lands began to find resonance within the heart of Rome. This interaction fostered an environment where spirituality transcended borders, allowing for a richer, more complex religious fabric. The presence of the Vestals in newly acquired regions often symbolized Roman authority. Their continued worship of Vesta, the goddess of the hearth, served as a reminder of the unwavering stability that Rome sought to project. Even as the empire expanded, the significance of the Vestals remained consistent. They became a bridge between the past and the evolving future, sustaining the collective memory of a civilization that thrived on the philosophy of unity in diversity. Through this delicate balance, the Vestals contributed to an enduring legacy, quietly shaping the spiritual landscape of an ever-expanding empire. This legacy transcended the confines of their time, laying foundational elements for emerging belief systems. The principles of purity, devotion, and sacred duty associated with the Vestals found resonance in later religious practices. These themes echoed within various traditions, fostering a sense of community and fostering the reverence for divine entities. Documentation reveals that the rituals they performed inspired early Christian communities, embedding concepts of sanctity and service into their spiritual fabric. In regions where the Vestals once presided, new faiths often adopted ceremonial elements reminiscent of those ancient rites, integrating them into their own worship practices. The emphasis on a chosen few serving the divine mirrored the roles of priestesses in diverse cultures that surfaced after the fall of Rome. The quiet resilience of the Vestals became a focal point for the preservation of religious observances. Their commitment to the sacred flame symbolized an unwavering connection between humanity and the divine, fostering a continuity of spiritual purpose. This connection influenced not only local customs but also the broader dynamics of religious thought across the Mediterranean basin. Their decline marked a significant shift, yet the echoes of their influence remained. The nuances of their practices, beliefs, and communal responsibilities continued to inform the evolution of spirituality, reverberating through centuries and shaping the future of religious expression. The Vestal virgins, tasked with maintaining the sacred flame of Vesta, represented an unwavering commitment to tradition during periods of profound societal transformation. Their role was not merely a religious obligation but a symbol of stability amidst shifting allegiances and burgeoning sectarianism. This institution became a focal point. This is an forpinsort of vesut, shifting allegiances and burgeoning sectarianism. This institution became a focal point where the tensions between old beliefs and emerging cults clashed, reflecting the complexity of Roman spirituality. As new philosophies and religions gained traction within the empire, the presence of these priestesses became increasingly pertinent. Their rituals and solemnity stood in contrast to the fervent enthusiasm of rival sects, often invoking skepticism among those seeking alternative spiritual experiences. The juxtaposition of the Vestal's serene devotion against the backdrop of burgeoning sectarian fervor highlighted a deepening divide within the religious landscape. And the late Republic and early Empire, The growing influence of mystery religions and Eastern deities further complicated the relationship between traditional Roman practices and the newer ideologies. This shift led to a gradual erosion of the Vestal Virgins' authority, as their once sacrosanct position began to be questioned. The fading recognition of their role underscored a significant cultural transformation, marking the eventual decline of an institution that had once been integral to the spiritual fabric of Rome. The vestiges of their influence lingered, echoing through the annals of religious history. Their role extended beyond mere ritualistic duties. These guardians of virtue embodied the moral fabric of ancient Rome. The dedication they exhibited was not solely a personal commitment, but a public obligation, a representation of the societal ideals of chastity and piety. This institution maintained a delicate equilibrium between the sacred and the secular, acting as a bridge between divine favor and civic responsibility. The sacred flame they tended, an emblem of Rome's endurance, demanded constant vigilance, reinforcing their significance in the public eye. Civic events often involved the presence of these women, their ceremonial participation reinforcing societal values. They were not just passive figures. Their actions, prayers, and rituals were believed to directly influence the welfare of the state. In times of crisis, their presence was sought as a source of reassurance and stability, reflecting the deep interconnection between religion and governance. The public morality they upheld was a crucial element in maintaining order, with their perceived purity seen as essential for the prosperity of the empire. As political and social changes unfolded, the influence of these guardians waned. The shift in religious landscape and the emergence of new ideologies gradually diminished their importance. The decline of this ancient institution marked a subtle yet profound transformation in the moral compass of Roman society. The influence of this institution extended beyond religious practices, permeating the very fabric of Roman law. Vestal virgins were granted a unique status, providing them with privileges rarely afforded to women in that era. They wielded considerable authority, often seen as symbols of purity and protection, capable of invoking the favor of the gods. This elevated position allowed them to act as mediators in legal disputes, a role that would slowly begin to shape the perception of women's rights in society. Their ability to own property, manage finances, and engage in legal proceedings without the oversight of a male guardian created a precedent. This region, once dominated by patriarchal norms, began to observe gradual shifts in the legal treatment of women. The presence of these priestesses fostered a recognition of women's capabilities, suggesting that they could participate meaningfully in civic life. As the Vestals faded from prominence, the remnants of their influence lingered, inspiring emerging legal reforms. Women across the empire began to experience a slow expansion of rights, challenging conventional expectations. The legacy of the Vestals, though diminished, played a role in redefining societal norms. These changes contributed to the gradual evolution of women's legal status, setting the stage for future generations to further advocate for equality and representation within Roman law. The Vestals remained a potent symbol of Roman continuity, their presence a reminder of traditions that shape societal frameworks. Within their sacred domain, these priestesses upheld the flame of Vesta, a vital element in the spiritual fabric of Rome. As guardians of this fire, their role transcended mere ritual. They were embedded in the very memory of the city's history, serving as a bridge between the ancient past and the evolving present. Documented accounts of their lives reveal a complex interplay between autonomy and constraint, While their vows enforced a lifetime of celibacy and service, they also granted privileges uncommon for women of their time. They wielded significant influence, often advising powerful leaders, and were entrusted with the custody of sacred objects. This juxtaposition of power and limitation fosters a rich historical narrative, allowing scholars to examine the nuanced experiences of those within the institution. The fading echoes of their influence are evident in the architectural remnants scattered throughout the landscape. Ruins of temples and altars bear testimony to the rituals once performed, inviting contemplation of a time when the Vestals were central to both spiritual and civic life. The evolution of memories surrounding these figures reveals the dynamic nature of historical narratives, illustrating how the past continuously shapes understanding in the present. Contemporary society reflects on the Vestals through a lens shaped by modern values and interpretations. Their role as guardians of sacred fire transcends mere ritual, becoming a symbol of continuity and tradition amidst rapid change. This institution, once pivotal in ancient Rome, invites re-examination in the context of contemporary discussions surrounding gender, power, and spirituality. The Vestals serve as a metaphor for resilience, embodying the tension between societal expectations and personal autonomy. Their commitment to maintaining the sacred fire parallels the contemporary emphasis on nurturing collective identities while navigating individual aspirations. In this light, they are not merely historical figures, but representations of the struggles faced by women throughout the ages. Artistic expressions in literature and visual mediums frequently draw upon the Vestals, highlighting their enduring impact on cultural narratives. These representations often explore themes of sacrifice and devotion, prompting reflections on the nature of service in modern contexts. Academic discourse has also revived interest in the Vestal institution, encouraging interdisciplinary studies that intersect history, gender studies, and religious practices. The Vestals, once a vital aspect of Roman religion, now find relevance in discussions about the preservation of cultural heritage. Their legacy serves as a reminder of the complexities inherent in tradition, inviting ongoing exploration of how these ancient figures inform contemporary understanding of society and self. The Vestals embodied a unique position within the patriarchal structure of ancient Rome. They held a blend of autonomy and restriction, navigating a world defined by male dominance while embodying a sacred duty. This duality raises critical questions regarding gender roles in that era. Their commitment to maintaining the sacred fire of Vesta symbolized not only their religious importance, but also their function as guardians of the state's moral fabric. Within this framework, feminist perspectives provide valuable insights. The Vestals, although bound by vows of chastity, enjoyed privileges not commonly afforded to women of their time. They could own property, make wills, and were exempt from the traditional expectations of marriage. Such autonomy, juxtaposed with their sacred obligations, complicates the narrative surrounding female agency in antiquity. Explorations into their lives reveal that these women wielded a form of power, albeit one deeply intertwined with religious and civic duty. The societal perception of their roles invites contemplation on how gender dynamics functioned within the broader context of Roman culture. The Vestal's existence challenges simplistic interpretations, suggesting a nuanced interplay of empowerment and constraint, reflecting the complexities of femininity across historical epochs. This examination continues to resonate, prompting discourse on the evolution of gender roles through the ages. The Vestal's role transcended mere religious obligation, embodying a critical component of Roman cultural identity. Their presence in the forum served as a constant reminder of the city's sacred traditions. This institution, steeped in ritual, offered a semblance of stability amid political upheaval. Their commitment to maintaining the sacred flame symbolized not only the favor of the gods, but also the enduring nature of Roman civilization. Rituals conducted by these priestesses were integral to public life, linking the divine with the mundane. Their participation in ceremonies reinforced societal norms and collective values, fostering a sense of unity among citizens. Observers noted the reverence accorded to these women, who wielded influence despite their isolation. The Vestals also played a role in preserving cultural heritage through the safeguarding of sacred objects and texts. Their vigilance ensured the continuity of traditions passed through generations. This institution, marked by a blend of authority and vulnerability, captured the complexities inherent in gender dynamics within Rome. As time progressed, the decline in the Vestal's significance paralleled broader societal shifts. The waning of their influence reflected changing perceptions of divinity and morality, marking a transition in Roman identity. The gradual dissolution of this once revered institution highlights the intricate relationship between religion, culture, and gender across eras. While the Vestals, embodying a unique connection to the divine, served as intermediaries between the mortal realm and the gods. Their role was steeped in ritualistic purity, ensuring that the sacred flame of Vesta remained eternally lit. This flame symbolized both the hearth of the city and the well-being of its people. Each Vestal undertook a vow of chastity, a commitment that reinforced their spiritual authority and societal importance. These women engaged in various rites, performing offerings and prayers that sought to appease the deities. Their actions were believed to directly influence the favor of the gods, impacting agricultural fertility, military success, and the city's overall prosperity. In this context, the Vestal's presence was not merely ceremonial. It was an essential component of Rome's religious fabric. The sacred rituals conducted within the Temple of Vesta often involved the use of symbolic objects and elaborate ceremonies designed to evoke divine attention. Their guardianship of sacred relics further illustrated their pivotal role. The Vestal's ability to communicate with the divine offered them a revered status, setting them apart from ordinary citizens. As time progressed, the influence of the Vestals began to wane. The once vibrant relationship with the gods became increasingly overshadowed by emerging philosophical and religious ideologies, leading to a subtle yet profound shift in societal values. The enduring myths surrounding the Vestal virgins encapsulate a complex interplay between tradition and evolving societal norms. These priestesses, tasked with maintaining the sacred fire and upholding the sanctity of Rome, symbolized purity and commitment. Their presence in the ancient city was a reminder of the divine favor believed essential for the prosperity of the state. Intriguingly, the image of the Vestals has transcended time, becoming a focal point for contemporary reflections on gender, power, and spirituality. The rituals performed by these women, steeped in significance, conveyed authority and reverence, yet also revealed the constraints imposed upon them. The vows of chastity, while elevating their status, simultaneously limited personal freedom, highlighting a paradox that resonates within modern discussions of women's roles in society. These reflections prompt inquiries into how empowerment and sacrifice intersect across eras. Contemporary interpretations often explore the Vestal virgins as symbols of resilience, embodying the struggle between societal expectations and individual desire. This region of thought invites a deeper examination of cultural narratives that persist today, The gradual decline of the Vestal's influence parallels shifts in belief systems, where ancient practices yield to modern ideologies. The fading company of these priestesses serves as a poignant reminder of how traditions evolve, leaving behind echoes that continue to inform our understanding of identity and devotion in the present age. The culmination of their existence marks not just the end of a sacred duty, but also the gradual dissolution of an entire cultural paradigm. With the extinguishing of the eternal flame, the very essence of Vesta and her priestesses dissolves into historical memory, leaving behind an indelible imprint on the fabric of Roman society. This shift signifies a transition from polytheism to the rising influence of monotheistic belief systems, reflecting broader societal changes. The last Vestal virgin, isolated in her fading sanctuary, embodies the final breaths of a once vibrant institution where rituals were intertwined with the civic life of Rome. These rituals, steeped in the symbolism of fire and purity, offered a connection to the divine, anchoring the community in traditions that spanned centuries. The echoes of their chants and the warmth from their sacred flame linger in the hearts of those who recognize their significance. In contemporary reflection, the legacy of these priestesses reveals profound insights into resilience and transformation. Their decline mirrors the evolution of human belief as societies navigate the complexities of faith and identity. The remnants of their practices serve as a testament to the enduring human spirit, encapsulating the essence of devotion that transcends time, offering valuable lessons in maintaining cultural continuity amidst inevitable change. Future research into the Vestal virgins may unveil new insights into their influence on Roman society. Scholars are increasingly examining the interplay between their sacred duties and the political landscape of the era, positing that these women held a unique position that bridged religious and civic responsibilities. This intersection is revealing how their roles were not merely ceremonial, rather, they were pivotal in shaping familial and societal norms that reverberated throughout the Republic and Empire. Innovative methodologies, including archaeological advancements and interdisciplinary approaches, are enhancing the understanding of their daily lives. Excavations at ancient sites are yielding artifacts that provide context to their rituals, while textual analysis of surviving literature is helping to reconstruct the societal implications of their vows. The integration of digital tools allows for a more nuanced interpretation of data, revealing patterns that may have gone unnoticed. The study of the Vestal virgins is also expanding into cultural studies, exploring their representation in art and literature over the centuries. This evolving perspective emphasizes how their legacy has been interpreted in various historical contexts, influencing both contemporary and modern perceptions of female agency within religious frameworks. As new theories emerge, they promise to enrich the understanding of these exceptional figures and the complex society they inhabited, ensuring that the legacy of the Vestals continues to resonate through the ages.